Hey friends, welcome back to the page. We got a really special video in store for you guys today. Up on the property where I'm hunting, we had a very special guest come in and show us the lay of the land. Jeff Sturgis from Whitetail Habitat Solutions. So if you guys want to sit tight, watch that video, learn some information like we did, I think you'll enjoy yourself.
Cut it. Not that you do that here, but you could put a back cut on that right there, and it would you put a back cut on there, it'd hinge over, and then it'd sprout all the way along the top of that. It's really the prolific sprouters.
Okay.
Red maple are. Where the aspen like that, the popple, this right here. This right here is a popple or aspen. This one you have to cut completely. So those sprout out of the stump, or if you hinge it, it'll sprout out the top of the tree, or the side of the tree. This one right here, when you cut it, it kills the tree, but then the roots are still alive, so the regeneration sprouts out of the lateral root system. So they're all connected. All these, you see all the light, they're and then there's birch in here too, but right here, that's aspen, popple. Those are popple right there on the corner above the tire.
Yep.
Back there, same thing. They're all connected by lateral root systems underground. So when you cut it, you get 7,000 shoots per acre. So when you cut an acre out, you get 7,000 shoots, and it's all grouse food, grouse habitat, rabbit if you have them around, snowshoes love them, and then deer love the browse. So between soft maple and popple, you don't have a lot of high timber value, but then you have really good deer food and deer cover and wildlife cover. So that's a good thing. When you mix the conifers in, I mean, we're right here, and I know the leaves come off the trees, but looking back in the woods through this conifer, you can't see more than 50 yards, 40 yards, even during the winter time. So that's a good thing. So then when you put your food plots here, your presence walking around the woods with a little bit better horizontal cover, meaning you can't see through past those white pine, means that those deer will hold tighter to that food. Your impact is less because you're hidden, you're screened coming in here. So you know, right off the bat, I mean, I love to see pine and white pine, red maple, and popple. That's just perfect combination, you know, so like one of the things, like you go in like these right here, this age, this little cluster, you can get this area right here. Imagine going in there with a forestry mulcher and you mow it down. You don't go into the soil because all those roots are just under the soil 6-8 inches, and they're touching. So if you went through with a dozer blade, for example, and scarified it, or a ripper, it just makes sense you kill those trees because they're all connected. That's why it's not a good idea, like if you had, which you don't, but mature poplar, you don't want to get them out when it's wet in the spring, because then the logging tires go down and they break that lateral root system and kill them, kill the regeneration. But you mow that down like that, it's like mowing your lawn. You mow it down, and then you get all these fine shoots coming up of growth of popple, and that's all deer food. And then the little oaks you have in here, it's all deer food. It's all this regeneration that comes up. So to me, it looks like you have tons of opportunity for regeneration or ability to get regeneration, because a lot of your oaks are pretty young in here.
I'm getting better.
Sam's birthday, so I told him I had a pack. Might as well
Do this again.
Do it.
Yeah, make it larger, and that's going to be on your comfort level.
Which direction?
Well, you can't go that way because of how wet it is, but I would
This way
go.
or this way?
That's a good question, because see how behind you where we came, we had that little ridge system. You wouldn't want to go that way and expose it to your access, because once you get up on the ridge, you can see right down the trail for a long ways.
Yeah.
Where you'd want to keep it, I like where it's hidden. So I'd expand it that way.
Okay.
In this dry area, and make sure it's hidden from your access over here.
Gotcha.
So the goal would be, and even like the blinds, if I was going to sit back in here and hunt in a blind, I'd probably put it on a little knoll like right back here, And then what I do is you don't clear a shooting lane all the way to it. You clear holes through the trees that you can shoot, so that we'd be back here looking back and there'd be a hole, a hole, a hole, and you could shoot out from that.
A walking path.
Yes.
Yeah, because when deers look at it, they eventually walk to it, they can see it, it sticks out. And then so imagine that if you painted it dark with some vertical lines in it. You know, let's say you painted it a medium gray with dark black lines in it, more vertical, and stuck it back there, you wouldn't be able to see it. Deer wouldn't notice it, you wouldn't notice it, but then you're cutting off the trail and just coming into it from behind, and anything out here wouldn't even know you're coming in.
Through the food plot.
Yeah. And you're better off making it so you have one window open and can see the whole thing, and it holds your scent in a little bit better than you are having all the windows open and being able to see everywhere. I'd rather see the plot, and you could see a little bit on either side. You can look out the windows, open them if you have to. But yeah, it expanded that way. So if we walk down this trail, does that go to the south border? And the trails, you know, around here, the openings that you have. So I'd want you guys to attack areas in here where you're getting that timber down on the ground and
Like
starting
the tall,
regeneration.
like the more mature, or
No, because you have so much underbrush here. Like, I'd rather see you go into a pocket of aspen like that, you know, that gray, and clear out a pocket like the size of a shed. Just cut it right down, and you get sunlight to it, and then you put browse all the way around it. You don't care if the deer are in it, you care if they have the browse around it. And then what that does is that 7,000 shoots per acre pace, and then you can't see through it. And then also what you're doing is getting light to a lot of these white pine. So all these white pine like this one, this one is thinner than some of them, just because, oh, look at another one, it's not getting a lot of sunlight. Like, look at here, look at all the branches, how they're facing this way, and they're not getting much on the back side. They're really thick on this side right here, because they're getting a little bit of sun. But once you get full sun to this, these white pines grow out and they're beautiful. But they have to get sun to them. The white pines, I wouldn't cut any white pine on your property. This fir here isn't really worth much at all. It dies quickly. They're not a wildlife. Those are rolling limbs. They don't really provide much at all, where the white pines are really good wildlife species.
So
Look at the
get
difference
rid of
between
those.
It's not get rid of them. Yeah, they're good. I actually eat the red berries in the spring. I'll eat them when I'm on client property.
I didn't know they were.
Edible.
Yeah.
What is that?
Wintergreen.
You come, you know, where we were just at that old trailer blind back there for handicap hunts. You'd connect a trail along your border to get out here. You know, take a straight DR brush
Right
trimmer.
Because there
Yeah,
is
it's
kind
right-
of a trail right straight this way, it kind of looks like.
And that trail goes off the property. That goes directly. You're clearing a hole right there, and then you're clearing a hole right there. So if you're clearing lanes in the future, you don't. And that's why those your walk-in lanes on the outside, you want them straight, as wide as possible, because you want deer to associate those with people. You don't want them bedding on them, using them during the daylight. They'll use them at night. Whereas these, sometimes they'll actually go to the back side of them. So I like taking a blind like that. And again, you're dark gray, dark brown, putting some black permanent or black vertical lines in it, and some brush around. Like, you're approaching from that side, so you're putting all your brush right here, so you're walking in behind the brush pile. So this just doesn't stick out. Because it's crazy, because the cameras, like, you guys have done pretty good on your cameras. They're up high stumps, and the camera's sticking out at eye level for deer that are on a 2-track, like a logging road. And the doe's coming in, and you see fawns all the way up the trail. She looks straight at the camera, and then the fawns walk by, they look right at the camera. We have a buck, 2 nice bucks. They come and look at the camera. We never see them again there. But every deer that walks by at night pays no attention to the camera, so they don't smell it, they don't hear it. They just simply see that box, and they don't like it. So imagine they don't like a box like this.
So you get a path.
So when you have a box like that, and they can look at it, a buck that's not used to, I mean, it'd be one thing he'd live next to it his whole life, but when they're coming from a mile away during the fall, and they're just walking through, then they don't like it. So what I do is try to try to break that up as best as possible. So using it with vertical, paint it darker so it's blended into the basically the tone of the trees, and then you're putting black stripes through it to break it up, vertical, and then just pile brush around in front of it so that when a deer looks back, it's kind of like you guys, if you're standing back there and you look up and think, I can tell there's a blind there, but it's because we know it's there. Well, you want to hide in a little bit. And kind of like on the food plot over there, where you'd put it behind the brush and painting, and then what you're doing is you're trying to stick to this edge, but then and I'd ribbon trail it out first. You're making a DR brush trimmer path from here that sweeps around kind of on this edge, because this edge is the same edge that's next to that food plot we first started at. So you're staying inside that, and eventually you're just hitting your trail that goes right into it that we just came out on and came over here. You're running that DR brush trimmer right over to there, and then you have an outside access over here to get here. And that's what most people do wrong, is they just come right through the middle of the property to get here, and you're going right by their food plots, everything. You come around the side and come up to it behind that ridge, and it's kind of like you're coming into a pillbox or an ambush spot. And really, when you guys hunting crossbow bow or vertical bow?
Crossbow for me.
I'll be regular
Crossbow,
vertical.
Vertical bow.
Crossbow.
Vertical bow.
Yeah, vertical compound, and then you're doing cross.
Because you could, with that blind, even if you moved it up a little bit, you could create it so each one of these trails is right at 35 yards or whatever for crossbow. So you see them in one, try to stop them in another, get a shot. And then you can also come in here and put a vertical bow stand where you're just right on that edge looking down one of these lanes, get a couple lanes open. But bottom line is you can manage these for bow or gun. 3 feet by 3 feet, then why would they continually go on this trail to get to food over there? It's not appreciable. Obviously, if that was 20 acres of food over there, this be a
bigger buffet.
Well, it'd be a
grocery store
cattle
versus a party
cattle
store.
trail
Yeah.
going through here. But even yeah, they're moving through here, and they'll use this edge. That's where they want to move through anyway. So you're just giving them the edge to do so, making it easy for them.
And you could access it, like you were saying, from over there.
Yeah, you only
Sneak
walk
up.
in like 20 yards off the border, sit
Yeah.
down, and then you're watching this.
That's thinking with your dipstick, Jimmy.
Between you and your access, so you can clear that plot all the way up. Like you see some heavy conifer up there, but you're coming into the closest point of contact back there, not walking through that. So you're standing to be right up there, blind. So you're clearing out this lower area. So you triple, quadruple, and you can make this a lot bigger if you want to.
Oh yeah, and like I said, without knowing for sure, I just was kind of, okay, we can widen it, get rid of some,
Oh, for sure.
because again, I didn't want to create a bigger problem.
No.
Clearing that mess?
Pretty much. Solo trips.
Yeah.
I know you guys burned something here too.
That looks
Yeah, we really
completely different, but then you start looking at the tops. It looks like, you see the heavy hardwood back here where you see the big dark tops, and then you see like where we were at here. This looks a little lower, and a little bit more fir mixed in and conifer.
They come through here all the time. See, there's marks.
It should be right on the
Yeah,
property.
right on the edge. Because you can look over here and
Well,
you
that
see
tall
that
aspen.
right there. That's
Yeah.
the edge of the property.
That window where those bucks are, so then that's where that exterior trail could be so critical. And having the DR brush trimmer and putting in, that'd be a perfect trail. What I do is I make it almost like a tunnel where it's as straight as you can make it so you could follow it even if your flashlight didn't go, wasn't working.
Right.
And you could just walk right along it. It's pretty quiet, very straight. Looks like a people trail to a deer, and they have an aversion to it, and you can just easily move around your property because it looks like, on that side, around the corner, on this side right here, so far, and then of course you're going around the wetland over there, you're really staying around out of the deer window for the most part. So you can sneak in, we're even below grade right here, coming into this spot. So then these kind of things work. And then, have you seen on my, I use a lot of mock scrapes. No scent. Literally, it costs as much as a piece of parachute cord, which is about 40 cents. When you do like 100 feet for $5. If you do the math and you use 10 feet, 8 feet, 6 feet, it works out to We actually took the time to sit down and figure out that for a video. Just because it costs so cheap, we don't use any scent. There's nothing man-made that you have to buy or anything. But so if I'm doing that right here, and then you want that deer travel corridor somewhere too, and I'll draw that out. And again, that's just the DR brush arm, but that's curving with the lay of the land. It's not as straight along your borders. It's a lot different. It's connecting the food plots. But I take a branch like that, I'd cut it off on the end so it's not blowing around, and then I'd tie string right there, and then around here they hit the popple really well for rubs. They don't hit the young maple as much. They'll like young oak. Those oak whips are awesome for it because they love rubbing oak. And so anything that they'd rub naturally around here, I use vines where we're at. We have a lot of vines. You can even get vines. They'll hit vines up here too. But I'm getting a piece like 6-7 feet long because a lot of those hanging branches, that's what I see naturally on all the lands I've been to. That's what they hit the most, like a hanging vine. They'll hit that perennial. It just hangs there where branches eventually break. And I'll hang that down right over a trail. It'll be 6-7 feet long, not more than 1 inch in diameter, but 3/4 inch to 1 inch. You don't want them as big as your finger because they just break. So you want them 3/4 inch to 1 inch. And you don't want it right here next to the tree. Imagine a big buck spinning all the way around and he wants to be out in the open. Like this is a nice flat right here. Nice distance, 6 feet away from the tree. So I'd want the bottom of that about waist to belly high.
Okay.
And that way fawns hit it too.
Oh,
Not just bucks,
okay.
does, and everyone that hits it, they leave their preorbital gland scent on it. They can go by it later and smell the scent from 20 deer that have hit it in the last several days. So it's very social. So you put that right here, it's about this high, it's 6-7 feet long, and that puts it up to that branch. You're really only using this much paracord to hold it on there, and you're tying it to the top, and you're just letting it freely swing. The heavier ones are not blowing around as much, and so if I did that there, I'm probably putting a camera on that tree right there with the blind right in the background. So anything that came through here, and of course if this was it, I'd want that trail that would skirt around here going your DR brush trimmer trail for the deer. That travel corridor would hit it too. But bottom line is that'll tell you, and I put one of those in front of every stand location, and that's it. I don't put any more or any less, because let's say you put 100 out there, well, 100 out here, well, the value of each one is diminished or diluted because you have too many. You can hit one everywhere. It's kind of like if you came out here, let's say it was dry, which it's not, but let's say you want to put water holes. If it was a dry property and you put 3 water holes on 40 acres, each one of them has a pretty high value. You put 20 out, what's the value of one then? Greatly diluted. And same with mock scrapes. About 1 per stand location is perfect. Okay. You know, you can have 12 stand locations out here to have 12 mock scrapes right in front. And when it's really cool is when they come into that, like say you're in a tree stand around, like that white pine, when they come in and they're hitting that, they're not looking at you and they're not looking at the camera nearby. They're purely focused. We have videos of them coming in from 20 yards away and they're staring at that vine, looking right at it, and they come right to it. And then they work it, they leave their scent, and they move on. They don't pay attention to you, they don't pay attention to the camera. So then you can get an inventory of every stand location, what's going on exactly at every one. And because you guys are using cell cameras, you don't have to worry about spooking them. Yeah. It's crazy. I show this to a lot of people because